I've been wanting to find out for a while just how little you might need to bring with you to create amazing art when you're on holiday. So, welcome to my hyper minimalist setup. In my right hand we have two pens, one ultra fine and one very bold. In my left we have a water brush and a credit card sized palette with a sort of limited array of colours in it. In this video I want to find out what of these things is the most important. Could I have left any of them at home, or have I left something at home which I really wish I had? By the end I hope that we'll all see that less is more and answer those other questions, of course. Now I'd love to hear from you. What should I have brought with me which I didn't? What could I have left behind which I brought with me? And what do you take on holiday? As a little bit of background before we dive into the testing and sketching, I'm in Bosnia and Herzegovina at the moment with Dash on our annual Leave Betty at Home holiday. We've been in Sarajevo, which was a fascinating city, and now what you see behind us is Mostar, another fascinating, much smaller city. The scenery here is pretty incredible and all very new to me. There are minarets everywhere you sort of look. There are giant cathedrals. There's old stuff and that kind of socialist, communist kind of brutalist architecture as well. A lot of stuff which I don't have an enormous amount of experience sketching, which has been amazing, and it's resulted in me filling up my simple sketchbook with tons of sketches. I think 25 so far, and we've been here 5 days. So I'm doing all right with my small setup. Now the first thing that I'm going to test out is my very fine pen. Now you may know me, you may know that I love using my ultra extra fine pen. This is actually a bit different. This has got a thing called a posting nib in. Very similar in that it produces a really fine nib, but far more controlled. So very similar to a 0.05 or 0.1 fineliner. Why might this kind of pen be the most important thing? Well, that really fine line is such a gentle and lovely way to sketch. It lets us get those initial shapes on the page in a flexible way. When everything is new, all these new bits of architecture, very different to what I'm used to sketching, it gave me a lot of confidence to know that I can make those initial marks and I'm not sort of too stuck into them. A really big bold pen immediately just means that you are stuck. That ink is on the page, it's really obvious, and you've got nowhere to go with it. As well as that, a really fine pen has a lovely feel to it, and it lets you go and go and go. And if you want to get stuck into drawing all these textures, picking out every one of these little minarets and drawing really far into the distance, that really fine pen is exactly what you need. And I've done a few sketches just with the fine pen. I've done some sketches of people just with the fine pen, and I really enjoyed it. So with no doubt in my mind, the most important thing to bring with you is a really fine pen. It doesn't have to be a fancy one, even a really fine fineliner would be brilliant. Or is it? Because the next thing, which I brought with me and really enjoyed using, is this. It's actually another fountain pen. This time it's got a really bold nib. You can hopefully see that in the camera or get an idea that it is a very bold nib. So this is actually a musical nib, just means really broad nib, similar to a chisel pen, or you could get similar effects from a brush pen or just a really bold 1mm fineliner. And why might this be the most important thing? Well, instead of being anxious and having to use fine lines, you can get stuck in. You can create immediate contrast. You can create scenes in seconds, stood on a bridge where you've beaten the crowds. You don't have to wait half an hour to fill in all the fiddly marks with your fine pen. You can just get the idea on the page in those few minutes that you've got to yourself there. And that's what I've been doing with this pen, standing in places where I don't want to be there for longer than a few minutes. But because this pen is so immediate and so bold, we can get something interesting and characterful, quite illustrative, very fun on the page in seconds. And that's why, without a shadow of a doubt, the most important thing you can pack is a bold and expressive pen like this. Or is it? Because there's something magic about colour, isn't there? Colour really brings things to life. Now this tiny palette, look at it, literally credit card size palette. I have 8 poorly selected colours. What do I mean by that? I mean, I've specifically kept them quite moody and earthy to mean I have to make decisions. I'll list the colours down below, but there's none of those normal primary colours in here. Every colour is a bit different, somewhere close to a secondary or heavily granulating or just interesting. So the combination of this tiny palette, which by the way is made by Colin's son, and you can actually buy them off Colin, there's a link down below, and I really recommend them. £6 I think for this palette, pretty amazing value. But bringing this tiny palette with some colours which make you think has given me a lot of fun. Today, for example, I sat in a lovely shaded spot overlooking a famous old sort of Islamic monastery, and I painted. I'm just using water brushes, but yes, I'm on record saying I don't like, but they do have a purpose, and an ultra minimalist setup is one of the times they're really good. We can create a lot of fun just gently washing the page, gradually building up tone and value, introducing details and contrast, and we can end up with these wonderfully atmospheric sketches just using this, which is amazing, I think, at least. Which is why I would say. So I feel like maybe I'm repeating myself, but the most important thing you can possibly bring with you on holiday is a tiny set of watercolours and a little water brush. Wait. Because actually, and maybe this is the lesson that I've learned, actually having a small, very different range of tools, a very fine pen, a very bold pen, some poorly chosen colours, that is what has enabled me to sketch in such a wide range of circumstances, to create a vast array of sketches, more than I've ever done on holiday before. By having some choice of very different implements, but not loads of choice of loads and loads and loads and loads of things, has meant that I've always had something different to do. And when I've combined them, I've been most happy. Doing my sort of detailed, silly, continuous lines, building up the kind of feel of a scene, and actually just sketching with this view behind me, I was able to do exactly that. Then adding some of those bold contrasts, that immediate stuff which shortens the process and makes it punchy in seconds. And then washing on some colours, not having to spend half an hour slowly building up my scene. But yes, those colours do add life, don't they? So using the colours for life, the bold pen for contrast, the fine pen for that confidence building, wiggly waggly line, that has been where I've been most happy. Now what I'll say as well is there has been no point on this holiday where I've wished I had something else with me. I have no doubt if I'd brought some pencils, bigger set of colours, more brushes, yes, I probably would have used them, but I haven't missed them. Having that limited set of stuff has also kept my sketchbook looking sort of complete, all part of the same art, also part of the same process. Everything feels connected, which I think is really lovely for a book of memories, all from a single place. So what I've learned is that yes, it is more than possible to bring a very limited set of equipment. Yes, I could have just brought one pen or just my colours, but then I would have missed out on lots of opportunities. Having 3 very different things, that feels like the kind of Goldilocks zone, the right space to be in, to give you enough choice, but not too much. Now I'd love to hear from you. What is your magic tip which you could share with the world, which could enhance everyone else's holiday who has the good fortune to read it? Hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please do hit the like button, the notification bell, leave that comment I've asked for. And if you do want to learn more about sketching outside and sort of creative ways of taking your sketching skills outside, I have a specific course on that on my website, sketchloose.co.uk. I'll pop a link for that down below as well. Now, I think Tash said that we're going for ice cream now. So on that positive note, I'll see you in the next one.